I'm delighted to be joined by Julie Futcher. Julie's got a wealth of sales experience supporting a huge, wide variety of businesses and industry sectors. So thank you for sharing your knowledge with us today, Julie.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me on.
No, pleasure. So today we're going to be talking about sales planning, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah. So can you start by explaining to us, what is a sales plan?
Okay. So a sales plan is I'm going to say a written down spreadsheet, Word document, whatever you want it to be, that actually shows your goals for the business for 12 months. I kind of look at goals more around revenue, so revenue goals, but it doesn't have to be revenue. The whole idea of them is it gives you a year to view, a helicopter view of your business, of what you want to achieve, rather than keeping everything in your head and hoping that it all comes out. And it really is, for me, the starting process of controlling the sales and the revenue coming into your business, because what then spins off from a sales plan is your marketing activities, cash flow, all that sort of thing. So that's what it is. That's what a sales plan actually is.
Okay. And why is it useful to do it, do you think?
Well, for me, as I said, it helps control the revenue in the business. It plans your business. For me, what they're a living, breathing document that enables me to ensure that I'm achieving what I want to achieve for the business. So if you think that you have a year to view in your sales plan, so I've done mine already for next year, January through to December, because that's the way my sales year runs. It doesn't matter whether you do March to April, whatever it is good for you. But what it enables me to do is, even in sort of October time, when I was planning this, I've got one eye on the next 2 or 3 months within the business. So I started thinking about January as I went into November. I'm starting to plan into that. I'm starting to think of the activities that are going to generate me revenue in January, because I have like an 8-week lead time, couple of months, maybe 3 months on some occasions. So I'm always thinking about what is coming over the horizon. And what this enables me to do also is, if there are any glitches, I've got a plan for it. Yeah. So I'm not caught, and I'm going to put this very tongue-in-cheek, because COVID really kind of put the cat amongst the pigeons, but ordinarily I'm not caught out with it.
I think we've all got
yeah. But the thing thing was around COVID is, because I've got one, and one of the things that I said to you, your marketing activities spin off of that. And a part of that is, I know where all my revenue comes from. I know what business activities generate it. So when COVID hit, I was able to take a massive step back, look at where all of our marketing activities came from, what we needed to do, and immediately step up some of the stuff that we may haven't done for a little while, or where we knew that there was going to be some revenue to come from. Now, obviously during COVID, it kind of was very different, but what's actually happened is we're lifting out of this, hopefully now, fingers crossed. All of that is now paying off. So it was because of this one little document, and it is very unassuming. It's a spreadsheet. It literally is a spreadsheet where I plan it out and I look at it. But because of this document, I've really got a firm hold and a handle on this business.
Brilliant. To help other people, what do we need to consider when we're planning?
Okay. So the first thing that I always do when I work with my clients on this planning is, the first sort of thing we start off is, what do you want to achieve in a month? And if we're talking about revenue, really what that needs to be is knowing where your break even is, and knowing what sort of profit margin you want to make. So, you want to make 20% profit in the year, then that's easy. You take your break even plus 20%, and that's where you start. I think what you've also got to put into consideration is peaks and troughs within any industry sector, and we all have them. And also, if you're a business owner watching this, large or small, put the factor in of your holidays. That's
We all forget that, don't we?
well, we do. But I think planning in your holidays, particularly if you're a very small business owner, you're probably the ones that are doing all the revenue and all the doing. If you want to have a holiday, you've got to obviously bear in mind that your revenue is going to dip. So that needs planning into and planning out of. So if we get all that in a plan of a year, just before we even start, that's a really good solid ground of thinking about, what do I want to achieve? Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Good.
So how often do you think people need to review their plans?
I'm going to say regularly. And for me, that's every week. So, Eloise, my background, as you know, is ex-recruitment. So when I was yes, absolutely. If you remember in the recruitment world, Monday mornings used to be the reporting, all of that sort of thing. And it's still a habit that I do now. So Monday mornings for me, I'm looking at doing all the accounts, all the invoicing, I'm chasing the credit control, and I'm looking at the sales plan. I'm looking at where we're at against the plan, what activities are working, maybe what hasn't worked, maybe I step that up. So I look at this plan every single week, and it ties in again with cash flow. The other thing that I also do is I have a quarterly planning session with myself. And again, when we're back in normal times, I decamp from an office and go to a hotel or somewhere nice and literally sit with my laptop and look at, again, I get all the sort of figures out, look at what works, what hasn't worked, where we're at, what do we need to do, why hasn't it worked, what can we do on the analysis. So it's absolutely imperative that you do this. And this is why you need to be working with something that document wise is simplistic and that you'll work with. So many of my clients have different things they use. I prefer a spreadsheet. I've got a good old-fashioned Excel spreadsheet. There are lots of online CRM type things that you can use for it, computer type based things, cloud based things. You've got to find what works for you, but it doesn't work if you create it, put it on a shelf and forget about it.
I think it's so easy, isn't it, as a business owner, not to take the time out if you're busy to review the plan. We might all do the plan. You might do the plan, but it is actually staying up to date with it, and that consistency of checking it and then reworking. And that leads me on to, what if things aren't going to plan? What can you do then?
So first of all, don't panic, Mr. Mannering. So those who are old enough to remember Dad's Army. The second thing is, just also bear in mind, I said to you, this document isn't cast in stone, it can flex. So there we go, I'm giving you permission to not panic and to flex this a little bit. And I think if things aren't going to plan, it's taking a step out. So not working in the business, you've got to step out and work on your business. And just sit and look at what it is that isn't working. So I mentioned to you that I know where my business comes from. And the reason I know that is I look at all the invoicing I do over a 6-month period, and I track it back to where the origin of that particular piece of business and where it came from. So I know, for example, that I've got one of the networking groups that I belong to, Buzzcom. It generated me £53,000 worth of revenue last year. Now, if I'm looking at things and thinking, why, I need to step this up, things are going wrong, why is it going wrong? And I suddenly realize that I haven't been going to that networking group thing, I've got to do it. Yeah. I think through COVID, this was a really interesting one, because I remember sitting down and looking at my plan, and I had about 2 months where I just thought, I don't know. I have no answers on this. I do not know. And I'm quite happy to share that, because I believe it's important that people understand, even as a sales trainer, we do not have all the right questions and all the answers. But what I then did was I went right back to basics. I looked at why I was in business. I looked at who my target market was. I looked at what do my target market need now? And what are they going to need as we lift out of that? What is my offering? Where are the gaps? And what do I need to do to fill the gaps? And it literally was, I drew a line in the sand and as if I'm starting my business again. So those are kind of the sorts of things that I would advise people to sit and look at.
Brilliant. I think lots of people feel like they've started their businesses again during COVID, but it's a great exercise to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, in doing it, it took me to look at my website. My website did not reflect the business. It looked, I mean, I don't get a lot of leads off my website. Different story for another day. We've resolved that. But it got me looking at things and analysing things and making sure that everything was back on point. You know, everything was there that it should be. And I think, again, we talked about as business owners, and particularly small business owners, you're on this hamster wheel in a business, delivering. But you have to step out of that and you have to make yourself, because otherwise it just all runs away and then it falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, you know, with me, as I say, I work 2 months in advance. That's my sort of pattern of business. So I can see 2 months in advance where revenue is coming from. And it just helps me plan. Sorry, I think I rambled there, Eloise. I do think
Brilliant. No, Julie, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
For being so honest with us, obviously, about your experiences.